It's time. I've reviewed both digital notebooks separately, so in this video, I'll give you a Kobo Elipsa 2e versus Kindle Scribe comparison. Is Kindle falling off because of their new greedy practices? Does Kobo deliver on its promises that it's a high-quality e-reader and digital notebook? And most importantly, which one should you get? I used both devices for weeks to come up with the answers, so keep watching to find out. Let me be clear. I know many of you who are familiar with Kindle products. They're well known all over the world, while Kobo doesn't necessarily have that same reputation. However, there are major differences that really make Kobo seem like a better option. First of all, no upsells. It doesn't force you to pick a more expensive option by offering limited configurations like Kindle does. It also offers a more generous writing system, which I'll cover a bit later. But most importantly, with a smaller brand like Kobo, I don't have to deal with Amazon's anti-consumer bull crap. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But now I have to give Kindle props where they're due. Its design and hardware are on the higher end, as usual. Kindle Scribe's outer shell is aluminum, in contrast to Kobo's plastic, which adds to a more premium feeling. And despite being metal, I didn't find it that slippery. On the other hand, Kobo is mostly produced from recycled plastic, which is of course a great sustainability practice. While the screen is the centerpiece of every e-reader, there's not much to compare between Kindle Scribe versus Kobo Elipsa 2e here. Both are comparable in size, and there are only a few reasonable differences. First of all, Kobo's screen is a bit lighter. And secondly, Kindle screen has a bigger pixel per inch count, resulting in a sharper picture. But honestly, the difference felt too minor to focus on it. Both screens are supported by a customizable front light with brightness settings and warm light options. After reading from each screen for multiple weeks, I can't really complain about either. Not when reading, at least. Now, when writing, the stylus of course steals the show. Kindle stylus is the one I prefer, mostly because I don't have to charge it. That's a major convenience point for me. But on the other hand, Kobo stylus offers pressure sensitivity settings and has customizable buttons. If you're thinking about picking up either e-reader, check the links in the description. They're the best deals that I found, so you might as well take advantage of them too. And since I brought up the stylus, let me run through my writing and note-taking experience with it. Let's start by comparing Kobo versus Kindle for note-taking. When I first picked up these devices, I thought the best I could do was scribble some nonsense on the book pages and call it a day. Well, with Kobo, that was pretty accurate. It lets me bring my pen straight to the book pages. I could write over the text, scribble over it, underline text I liked, and pick and choose the words to Google. All the notes I made could also be exported as text in TXT or PDF formats, or as images in PNG. With Kindle Scribe, scribbling over books is not an option 99% of the time. Instead, I can leave my thoughts in the special sticky notes. While this is more restrictive than with Kobo, it gave me that nostalgia of leaving sticky notes in my school books. Notably, while Kindle Stylus doesn't need charging and requires less hassle to work with, it also sometimes registers strokes when hovering slightly above the screen. While resetting the nib resolves this issue, it's still annoying to deal with. But what I liked equally about both devices is stylus storage. When not in use, it magnetically attaches to the side of the e-reader. Very neat. Additionally, both have a customizable button that can be assigned to one of many tools. Highlighter, eraser, lasso, and so on. The functionality here is almost identical for both devices, so I won't go into detail here. Now, switching from note-taking to writing, both Kobo Elipsa 2e and Kindle Scribe have the option of creating separate files to write in, and there are a bunch of templates that would be familiar to anyone who has held a notebook in their life. That's where writing functionality and ease of use are at their best. I can write anything I want and as much as I want. These files have no limits as far as I've seen, and if you want, you can even draw some simple sketches. Still, the question remains, can these devices effectively translate handwriting to text? In my experience, both Kindle and Kobo managed to accurately understand what I was writing and change it to typed text. The difference is that Kindle does that for completed files, while Kobo Elipsa handwriting conversion supports real-time line-by-line translation. That said, if you have quirky handwriting or have a medical degree, I'm afraid that either device simply underperforms. There's a limit to how good those automated features really are. Now, that said, Kindle has a unique feature that utilizes AI to summarize any note you create, which also comes with its own set of caveats. First of all, it takes a long time, especially for longer notes, and secondly, it requires sending the entire note to Amazon servers. I don't know about you, but I'm not sure how much I trust it with my data. But if all you want to do is export or share these notes, Kindle Scribe handles that through email, while Kobo Elipsa 2e also includes Dropbox and Google Drive integration, so you can keep your notes there. Overall, I think Kindle is falling short of Kobo when it comes to writing and note-taking. It's significantly less flexible, can't convert text line by line, and the file export options are less convenient. That said, if you trust Amazon with your notes, their AI summarization feature is definitely an upside. Now let's talk about the Kobo Elipsa 2e and Kindle Scribe as e-readers. Sure, they come with plenty of notebook features, but if that's your main priority, a regular tablet might serve you just as well. The real advantage of these devices is their e-ink screens made for reading. So how do they stack up when it comes to that? In my opinion, not very well. The sheer size of the devices make them uncomfortable to bring with me. Older Kindle and Kobo devices used to fit in a pocket. Granted, a big pocket, but for Scribe or Elipsa 2e, I need a bag-sized pocket now. However, if you're reading from the comfort of your own home, the experience isn't too bad. Personally, I found Kindle screen to be higher quality, especially when reading in dim light. The warm light settings and auto brightness make it very comfortable. While Kobo does all the same things, the overall screen quality is lower, if that's all you care about. One massive difference that makes Kobo Elipsa 2e potentially better than Kindle Scribe is how many book formats it supports. Kindle is, well, Kindle. It supports PDF, a bunch of its native formats, and sometimes EPUB. Most of the time, I gotta use apps like Calibre to convert my books and upload them to Kindle Scribe. This makes it even harder to use the native cloud storage via Send to Kindle, as I can't just throw any book through it. With Kobo Elipsa 2e, the situation is a bit different. It natively supports way more different formats, but if I just drop them through the USB cable, the e-reader won't detect them. I have to properly use Calibre and have books with all the proper metadata. Honestly, I didn't like that for either Kindle Scribe or Kobo Elipsa 2e. I'm of the opinion that once I buy the e-reader, I should be able to drop any supported text file inside and read it without jumping through hoops. And by the same logic, I should be able to upload any book bought in the built-in Kindle or Kobo shops to any of my other devices. With Amazon, we already know that Kindle books are made to stay within the Kindle ecosystem. That's why I don't use it. With Kobo, for now, you can still back up books you bought in their store elsewhere. Speaking of eShops, Kobo has its own Kobo store, with both conventional books and audiobooks. They also collaborate with Overdrive, and I managed to borrow library books through this system. While Kindle Scribe doesn't have that functionality, I get access to built-in Audible and Goodreads stores and their book selections. Now that you know everything these devices have to offer and my experiences with them, how much do they cost? Surprisingly, price points are quite similar. Kobo Elipsa 2e is around $400, with 32 gigabytes, the stylus included, and there are no extra fees. Kindle Scribe also starts at $400 with the stylus, but that's for the basic 16 gigabyte version. If you want 32 gigabytes to match Kobo, or even 64 gigabytes, you'll have to pay more. So what now? Which device should you choose? If note-taking directly in books, flexibility in supported formats, and library borrowing sound like important enough upsides to tolerate a slightly lower build quality, Kobo Elipsa 2e is a great e-reader to consider. It's flexible, more open, and gives me more control than Kindle does. It's the best e-ink tablet for writing, in my opinion. However, if you're already part of the Kindle ecosystem and own your own books there, Kindle Scribe is the only choice that makes sense. And even if you are a first-time user, Kindle does have a more premium build, a stylus that doesn't need charging, and a variety of digital store content. Sure, you can't scribble on the pages of your book, but sticky notes are still a pretty comfortable workaround. I'm glad you made it this far in the video, so why not subscribe? We have more reviews on various devices in the works, so stick around. As for the Kindle Scribe and Kobo Elipsa 2e, if you want to get either of those e-readers, I've left the links where I got mine in the description below. Plus, you can see previews of the individual reviews of both digital notebooks on the screen right now. Click them to watch full videos. Thanks for watching this e-reader comparison 2025 edition. Hope you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you soon.